Hello, my friends. Then I thought that it could not be worse for Russians. Well, they surprised me once again. What did they do? Well, you may see it on your screens. They started the most massive attack, convoy attack, this year at the same freaking Dobropilya direction, where they have already lost 50 of the vehicles around for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, if we summarize all of the Russian midwave strikes, it was like that, and in this assault they used around 20 of the vehicles. 20 for a single strike, tanks, BMPs, MTLBs, but still they failed. And before I play this video fully of this entire convoy that was ambushed, let me show you that particular direction on the map where it happened. We have this interactive military map from the Myco 73 analytic. I use it all the time in my videos. The link for the Twitter of this analytic you may find in the video description just below, and there you may find the link to this map, so I do it like that. So here you can see all of those marks of the Russian vehicle losses on the way again to Vladimirovka and Shakhove. I would say that Russians are really goal-oriented. They're looking at those villages as some sort of the night butterfly on the bulb. It seems like finally we find the place of the great attractor of our universe, but it is just for the Russian army. And it looks like it plays somewhere in Vladimirovka or Shakhove. At least once in 5 days, Russians have attempted to go there with all of their vehicles available. And after they are smashed and crushed, they gather more vehicles and more army men willing to give their lives for millions of rubles. Well, as I say to you, this time Vladimirovka and Shakhove still are out of reach for Russians. Speaking about the direction, well, they gathered forces and they had attempt to go straight to Vladimirovka from this place, but they were spotted by Ukrainian surveillance drones. However, this is the place of the major Russian strike towards Shakhove. And you see where Ukraine hit the first vehicle on the Russian, so-called Russian-controlled territory. Because even though it is shown as red here, but Russians cannot move there freely, because Ukrainian drones fly behind the front lines, far behind. And yeah, this first vehicle could have been a signal for the Russian convoy that after all Ukraine is not waiting them with flowers, but with many of the drones, so maybe it's better to return or turn back at least. But no, Russians are really stubborn in their efforts to reach their god. They're like those fanatics who justify their crime acts in attempt to go to heaven, but where they go is just underground, or sometimes they're just lying on the ground for forever. Well, here it's a little bit less resolution, and you might see the Russian attack moves and also Ukrainian counterattack, so Kucherov Yar area is totally liberated. Simultaneously, Ukraine moves a little from Novoshachove, imprisoning Russian soldiers. But Russia, no, Russia decided to attack. You know, even a couple of months ago, we obtained the information that Russia is gathering an enormous amount of the forces in Donetsk region. They will crush Ukrainian defense. They are preparing for the major strike, breakthrough. But what we see, they're just burning in those useless attempts. And they don't understand it. They just continue, they go, and they die. Yeah, let's go back to this interactive map, and it's time to look for the video itself. It is crazy. Guys from the 33rd Brigade, also from the 1st Azov Corps. The place is geolocated. Here are some of the coordinates. That's why I like this map, you know, because you click on the icon and you have all of the information, including the video itself. So let's go. I turned off the music. Russians go. There was the anti-tank trench as far as I see it, but it was penetrated. Probably Russians used before some of the engineering equipment. You may see this particular BMP is not a hangar type, but they use some of the meshes on the top. So still you have some drone protection. They put some smoke, fumes, and the rest were the hangar type of the vehicles. This is the Russian tank in the front with the mining plug, and you see it goes very slowly. And later on, one by one, they start to receive Ukrainian drones, hitting them in the back, in the sides, in the front, and one is down. You can see Ukrainian drone here is flying, so the sky is crowded. Later on, I'm gonna show you, I'll try to find the video of how Russians film Ukrainian drones flying in across directions. It's just crowded with those drones. It is outstanding. It has never been like that. But still, for each of those vehicles, Ukraine has to waste lots of the drones. So this convoy was stopped. Yeah, so you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus there were more vehicles on the run. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And later on there was the turn with more vehicles. Artillery is in use. Oh my god, this is the Ghost Rider. You can see it goes and burns. Crazy. So yeah, from this perspective, you can see part of the vehicles are located here, and there are multiple of the vehicles on that side of the road. Madness, absolute craziness. I'm gonna move my image for you to see it fully, so you can see, yeah, Ukraine put the anti-tank defense, some razor wire for the infantry, the trench, anti-tank trench, and dragon teeth. Yeah, not everywhere out there, but still it is there. So it's basically a trap for the Russian tanks. They have to go to a specific spot, a very narrow bottleneck, and the biggest obstacle for them is this anti-tank trench. Russians couldn't get over it. So again, it tells a lot about the planning of the Russian operation. This vehicle, you see, it stopped in front of this trench. It even tried to turn back. I think it was a tank, but it was hit. So the situation is similar to that bridge that was kaputted long time ago in Vladimirovka, but Russian command still sent some of the motorcyclists there and even infantry vehicles. And Russians were absolutely surprised reaching that destroyed bridge, so there is basically a dead end, and they were ambushed at the spot, the same as here. So command again sent this convoy to the dead end, basically, bottleneck you may call it, and the crew of the tank realized that it cannot go further. Especially under fire, it is impossible to cross it. Well, Russians could leave their vehicles and just walk, but imagine what could happen to that infantry. Well, it already happened like that, so Ukraine with the drone drops, with FPV, nailed everything. Just few of the Russian vehicles were likely to turn back with the infantry. But what's the planning in the Russian army? And Russian military bloggers, they say that the planning in the Russian army, that all of those midwave attacks, they're just crazy. They are in shock themselves. So I'm not opening America for anyone telling about those useless attacks. It is just an answer for those people who tell that I teach Russians how to tactically attack or something. No, they will not learn from me, from some of the YouTuber. No, they have even their own officers of the Russian army who write on their channels, private channels, public channels, that Russia fucked up again with a new midwave attack. Our guys are perished. Please do something. But Russian generals, they sent orders for those kind of the attacks especially. And believe me, those generals, they know about those useless midwave strikes, but probably they received the order from Gerasimov or from Putin that we need to propel forward. And how to propel forward? Well, using the midwaves. There is no other solution. But indeed, this time they gathered many more of the vehicles in attempt to crush Ukrainian defense, but it didn't work out for them. Well, maybe next time they're gonna wait a little more to gather 50 of the vehicles at least in this, again, useless attempt, because before they sent like 9 vehicles, maximum 10 vehicles, here 20 with something, and most of them were just perished, flatlined. Yeah, Russians try 50 vehicles to get one more small village. Just imagine the cost of this attack. How many of the infantry troops in each vehicle? It's crazy. Yeah, it was almost 30. 29 armored vehicles were used. 12 APCs, 2 tanks were destroyed completely. The rest were lucky to return home, but later on we have a new confirmation from Magyar that Russia lost 11 of the tanks and 14 of the armored vehicles. So almost, yeah, just 4 vehicles it seems like returned back. Yeah, I heard that information before, but this information is kind of fresh. It was posted yesterday evening, so I'm waiting for a deeper analysis about this really stupid Russian attack. And of course, Russians were not capable to get into Shakhove. And we have more footage released from the 33rd Ukrainian Brigade, which also operates together with the 1st Azov Corps, the same direction. So the joint Ukrainian forces conducted those strikes, drone drops on those vehicles, not only FPV. But here is FPV. You can see this tank with the demining plaque, or how you call it. And it was really, really slow because the weather was kind of terrible for the last few days and the ground is wet. So this tank was moving very slowly, tries to guide some of the vehicles with it, but no, everyone was stopped. At first this tank and a couple of those vehicles. So Russians were panicking, looking for the way out across the fields. But no, Ukraine finds them everywhere. To avoid restrictions, I cannot show you the entire video, but I'll share it on my Telegram channel. Actually, we have two of the videos, one from Azov Corps and the other one from the 33rd Separate Mechanized Brigade. So check out the link for my Telegram. There I publish or repost, in this case, everything I have. But yeah, definitely it was a long time since I saw that number of the vehicles established on the front lines in attempt to break Ukrainian defense just to gain control over a couple of the freaking small villages. So if we calculate everything of that, what happened there for the last 3 weeks, together with this stupid operation, Russia lost, well, approximately 70 vehicles. What is the success? Shakhova? No. Vladimirovka, well, they expanded the gray area, but the bridges are cut, and they were there with their forces, and Ukraine finished them all in Vladimirovka. That's why it's in gray area. Total nonsense and failure. What is here? Rusin Yar, they tried to offense, and here it was the tank. Yeah, some of the tank of the Russian army. This is the compilation of the videos, and some of them were geolocated. Vehicles. We are back in 2023, 100% for the Russian tactics, at least in this direction. And by the way, they tried to advance like that in the south. Also, convoys were ambushed. So, I don't know why they do it, but they do it. Yeah, don't judge my emotions because I might look unhappy or something like that. No, actually, I'm happy that Russian attacks were repelled. Awesome, fantastic. I'm just astonished with the Russian military command stupidity. Well, maybe during the summer counteroffensive of 2023, Ukraine tried the same tactics, but still, for a couple of the villages, 70 of the vehicles, even more. Yeah, again, I'm astonished, and what is happening in this place is absolutely crazy. You know, Russians, they actually had the window for usage of those vehicles for massive forces. Then they crossed to Kucherev Yar and to Zoloty Kolodes. You might remember that fast assault that happened in August. Then Russians propelled by around 17 kilometers or 11 miles almost. It happened swiftly in a matter of a couple of days or maximum 3 days. I guess it was a surprise for Russians themselves. So if they had used all of those vehicles which they now waste on the front lines in Vladimirovka and Shakhova, back then, yeah, definitely it could be a breakthrough, and Russians had actually this attempt to even encircle Ukrainian group in those villages. Like this move, because Ukrainian defense definitely wasn't ready, but now Ukraine sent the most capable forces for those kind of the counterattacks in the region, the 1st Azov Corps, 33rd Brigade, 25th, and of course Ukraine has lots of the drones to use in this direction elsewhere. And of course, they monitored the situation on the front lines with surveillance drones, and all of the Russian attempts are now basically failure. So Russian military command, as for me, they knew about, we had the success. You know, like this gambler who won $1 million but started to lose everything. Oh, no, I need to bet more, the same stake to the same number again and again and again, but it doesn't work already. Time has passed. Russians lost their opportunity, and regaining it under Ukrainian drone control, it's not possible. It's dead end, but they continue to use those convoys, which is pretty much nice for Ukraine. And yeah, my favorite definition of insanity, performing same action again and again, expecting something to change. As the Russians do in the Dobrapilya direction without any changes, they just intensify those convoys, making them bigger, but from the tactical perspective, it's the same move that Ukraine absolutely cuts with everything it has, artillery, drones, even HIMARS. Yeah, this video I saw yesterday actually looks real. So many drones. Well, Baba Yaga, see, with a drone drop, and FPV drones, some of the smoke coming. I think it's real after all. As reported, it is happening in Pokrovsk, so Russian assault is somewhere there up front, and Ukraine has some turned drones in standby, ready to go and drop some of the presents. Crazy. That many, just for you to understand. Well, around 3 days ago, Russians had an attempt to go to Rodinsk. They even put their flag and they deployed few of the infantry forces. They took some of the buildings there, but Ukraine counterattacked even using some of the armored vehicles in this urban environment. It could be very effective. We have even video about it. So this is the Ukrainian BTR. I think it's BTR-1E. Butsefal or something like that. Yeah, Russians took this building and this is the operation from inside of this Butsefal. Ukraine operates with infantry fighting vehicles very carefully because Russians also have drones. Usually it's the quick deployment for a few of the minutes, landing infantry forces and moving out from the place. Russians usually need 5 to 10 minutes to launch their drones. Well, this operation lasted a little longer from what I may say, but it was successful and our BTR survived. And this is the geolocation of this BTR operation, even though Russians put the flag there, but it's not for a long time. And let's check out the latest update from the Deep State military map source. It was yesterday, it is today, so you may see that Ukraine propelled from Novoshakhove, exactly the same update as we saw before, but Russians, they tried to go to Rodinsk still. Well, it was update, I would say, 3 days ago. Now Ukraine already repelled this Russian attack. And the Russians, they also expanded the area not far away from Pokrovsk itself, so yesterday, today. Still, Russians cannot go to Pokrovsk fully with their main forces, just occasionally small groups, because all of them are being ambushed by Ukrainian drone strikes, artillery, and so on. Here we have the video of the Ukrainian M270 Operation Standard Gimler's missile. It is out there to hit Russian positions right on the front lines. Before, Ukraine wasn't using those missiles to stop Russian convoys, but now it's something new. Alright, what is this? Again Ukrainian drones, and we see Russian Kamaz. Here is what? Oh, Russian Raider. Nice. Good prey. Good hunt, I would say. One more Raider. Russians try to hide in the bushes. And one more. Crazy. How many Raiders Russians lose in Crimea and in the southern part of Ukraine where primary drone unit is operating? Around once a week, Primary publish results of their job. Yesterday, Zelensky, after meeting with military and intelligence services, mentioned that Ukraine will strike Russia harder and deeper. They agreed the specific scenario to intensify drone sanctions on Russia. And the last night, again, some of the Ukrainian drones visited Moscow. Even Flamingo cruise missile was spotted flying really low. Well, this missile, after all, I think was shot down because this image comes from the Russian air defense system camera. And this is the video, sorry for the watermark. Well, Russians claim that they shut it down. It's been a while since Ukraine hit some of the refineries, but some of the infrastructure, especially military infrastructure, is being hit in Russia almost every night. From the latest one, few hours ago, there were some of the kabooms in Bashkortostan. It seems like the local power station went off. Even in Sakhalin, it's close to Japan. The local power station just collapsed and you can see blackout. Okay, it seems like after all, Lukoil is losing quite a lot of the profit. Stocks are falling down for several days consecutive. After United States of America applied strict sanctions on Rosneft and Lukoil, those are the biggest companies, oil producers in Russia. Well, here it was 6,600 points and now it is 5,200. Still not the collapse of the company, but not so good for the Russian oil market in general. Well, India is now looking for alternative variants for the Russian oil, but it doesn't mean that they will stop buying it. No, they will restructure their market. For now, they already halted the long-term contracts with Lukoil and Rosneft, but they're looking to work with smaller Russian oil companies, even daughter companies of Lukoil. With some time, they will find a way out how to purchase Russian oil with the same quantity once again. That's why if United States administration really wants to push Russia, they need to apply new sanctions each time, like once in 2 months at least, for the markets to be destabilized for the Russian oil completely. The situation in Russian Belgrade with this dam is uncontrollable, and lots of the water already went to the Russian positions. They have those kind of the videos. For Russians, it's definitely hard to deliver supplies, especially in this time of the year. The weather itself is nasty. The rain adds more water, so here we go like that. Russian Bukhanka van and river already is out of the shore. This is the Donets River that goes in the northern part of the Kharkiv region. But I want to warn you that there are lots of the videos made by artificial intelligence, like for example this one. You may see it on this water. It looks unrealistic, the textures, and there was the blink of Sora. Yeah, it was there. You can see a symbol of Sora, so whoever made this video wanted to get rid of the watermark, saying that it's real, but it's too tidy to be real, especially as for the water. So guys, be careful with those kind of the videos. Sometimes they are not real. Well, still you may define AI or not AI, but for sure this is the fake video showing allegedly Russian positions. But no, it's not like that, at least for now. With supplies, yeah, there is a problem, but positions, I haven't seen real videos like that. Oi, oi, what is happening? Ah, this is the Russian crane ship. It's going down. Sevastopol, the place where I was born. Oh, Jesus. Well, happens, I guess, especially in the Russian-occupied regions. Here we have some of the photos, and definitely it went upside down, or almost. Some of the Russians are missing. Two reportedly cancelled. I wonder what the load was out there. It seems like it was too heavy for this crane to be placed far away with a big shoulder. A new Bradley has arrived to Ukrainian army. As you might see, this is the protection, some of the meshes. Before it was a sand camouflage, but was painted later on in green color. Interesting, this vehicle is very, very nice. First of all, because it secures the lives of our guys. Fantastic, just awesome. Russian military bloggers, they also tell like that it is the best vehicle ever made. And the Russian BMP-3 is not even a competitor to this one. And you see how fire is stable from the Bradley's gun. It's not moving at all. But let's check out the Russian Terminator vehicle that was released to service several years ago. Few years ago, it's better to say. What the hell is this? Just imagine how it shoots. Oh my god. Why is it so unstable? Like left, right, and for sure bullets are going. They are going through the barrel. Yeah, this is the barrel. But why is it playing so much? Crazy. This video was filmed by Russians themselves. I think it's 30mm each cannon. I'm not the expert in those guns, but for me it looks very weird. Especially watching Bradley's cannon, which is very stable. This one is, I don't know. Orban wants to create the anti-Ukrainian bloc with Czechia and Slovakia. As you know, Czechia also elected some sort of the strange prime minister. And we know the Fico from Slovakia, but this one is the most outrageous, Orban. So pro-Russian puppets, they're ruining Europe from within, from inside. Well, we'll see how successful Orban could be in achieving this goal. I think not successful, because after all, he is not that popular in Hungary any longer, and he'll be dismissed during the next elections in a few months actually. I think those will start in April 2026, so half a year left for Orban to rule. My friends, special thanks for my supporters on Patreon and membership of the channel. Guys, you make this content possible. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. And guys, if you want to join, look for the Patreon link below in the pinned comment or in the video description, or just press join under this video somewhere here. Again, I don't push anyone for that, it just helps me to sustain my daily updates on this channel, so thank you so much. If you don't have this opportunity, just press your like to this video and subscribe for the channel, because it propels the video in YouTube algorithms elsewhere. It is very important as well. And my friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.